Hello everyone and welcome to part 6 of the dev commentary and playthrough of my Romhack Pokémon Victory. My name is KFM and I'm the creator of this Romhack. And yeah, welcome back everyone. So, last episode we traversed all the way down through Route 5. Now at the bottom of Route 5, we've just arrived at the Ranger Outpost, and we've just walked inside. I've talked to the NPCs in here, except for one very important NPC that I've created the sprite of myself, who is called Jessica. And that's where we'll pick up today's episode. So let's see what she has to say. Welcome to our outpost. My name is Jessica and I lead the rangers in this region. They've got a bit of a situation on their hand and they're looking for a lost Pokemon in the woods. Unfortunately, Jessica feels like she can't help since she's needed elsewhere pretty soon. She sees that we are a Pokemon trainer and asks us to help as long as we've obtained a gym badge. And if I press next here, she gets a little exclamation mark over her head and she comments on the fact that we have a gym badge. So this might be obvious, but if you come down here and talk to her before having the first gym badge from Riverhaven, then this dialogue doesn't happen. So this is a blocker. You cannot get past this point without the first gym badge, and you can't enter the woods. But once you have it, she says she'll let you into the woods, and she asks us to help her find the Pokemon. Now we don't know what Pokemon it is, as she leaves with her Breloom. But if we talk to this young lad over here, he says that he misses his Mimsy. There's obviously not a Pokemon called Mimsy, that's just a nickname. And that doesn't really give you a clue either as to what the Pokemon is, but don't worry, it's pretty obvious once we find it. So let's head outside now. And here immediately is something I want to point out, because I don't think we've ever run across this in the previous episodes, but if you pay attention to, well, everything, it looks a bit darker. And that's because I'm recording this episode a bit later than I usually would. I usually record in the middle of the day, but right now it's past dinner time, I guess you would say. And the game actually reflects this visually. There is a day and night cycle. So now that it's a bit later, it's a bit darker, and as we keep going, it's gonna get even darker. I don't think we're gonna see it get darker during this episode, because we've just past the hour mark on the real life clock, or my real life clock, and I'm pretty sure it only changes visually every hour. And I hope that this episode isn't going to be an hour long, so we'll probably only get this level of darkness, so to speak, but it does get quite a lot darker than this. So if you play your game in the middle of the night at like 12 p.m, it's going to be quite dark. This is something that RHH included. They added it quite recently, I believe, and it's something I thought, hey, I'll throw it in. But I'd like to point out that it has no mechanical effects whatsoever. There's not any different Pokemon that you can only catch at night or at day, which I know is the case for some of the real games. I think Generation 2 introduced day and night cycle first, right? And they have some Pokemon you can only catch at night there, but I don't have that. And it's something I might add. I mean, originally I wasn't a huge fan of the idea, but the more I've thought of it, I've sort of warmed up to it. But nonetheless, it's not part of the demo. So anyways, these ranger guards have moved to the side. They're just now sort of hanging around. This guy has his Shroomish out. This guy tells you to be careful inside the woods. I believe this is the NPC. Oh, he doesn't turn to face us. Hey, that's facing bug number 2. Awesome. I found one in the first episode and I found one in the 6th episode. Okay. That's probably because his script doesn't release his movement or whatever. Ah, okay. Well, that's minor. But yeah, this was the NPC, I believe, that used to tell you to buy items or stock up on items, which I sort of commented on briefly in the last episode. I thought it was a bit silly of me to tell players to stock up on items and not have an item or any way to buy items here, but that's why I added an NPC in here now, right? That you can buy items, so you can do that if you wish. But let's head on inside the woods. Now, quick note of the entrance here. During testing and for most of this game's lifespan, there was actually a little ledge here. You know, one of those ledges that you have to jump over. There was also a cut tree down here that you have to use cut to get through. And that sort of created the scenario that when you enter the forest and go up here, you're locked in the forest. And you can't get out until you find a way to cut this tree down here. Which, spoilers, the lost Pokemon would do for you once you rescue it. And I thought this was a really cool idea to sort of lock players into an area. I tell them beforehand that you should stock up on items because it's a bit dangerous, and then you sort of have them sort of survive here for as long as they can so they can get out. But the feedback from testing, I think, was very enlightening. People thought it was just very, very annoying that they couldn't leave and like just heal up. They were stuck here until they fainted, basically. Now there is a way to get out of here. If you go to the far west, you can actually loop around and get to a Poké Center, but people didn't figure that out, and they just felt frustrated because they were stuck. And I thought, it's not worth it to risk that feeling for this very minor thing of like locking players into the woods. And it also, in hindsight, maybe is a bit early to do something like lock players into the woods. This is, I mean, we haven't even gotten to the second gym yet, and I lock you in an area and you have to fight your way out. That's pretty difficult. So maybe I'd save that for like a later part. But yeah, that's just a quick little tidbit. I mean, if you were one of the testers of this game, you know what I'm talking about. And you'd maybe be surprised to see that there's nothing here now, but I think this is a lot better. Anyways, on we go. And here we have our burglar friend who has now entered the woods. And he's doing burglar stuff. He's looking to steal the lost Pokemon. He sends out his Sneasel to look for footprints. And Sneasel figures out that the lost Pokemon is up north. So he runs north, and that's my hint to the player that you should run north and chase him. But you absolutely don't have to do that, of course. So we are not going to do that. We are, however, going to have a quick look at our team here, actually. What do we have? Wattrel has Peck. Doduo has Peck. I don't really have their movesets or level up movesets in my head. I think Pidgey might be what we go with. 23 attack, 20 special attack. And Pidgey resists grass while Doduo doesn't, because Doduo is park ground type. Let us use Pidgey, but let us first level it up a bit. We still have a huge amount of XP in our experience store. So let's actually boost. Yeah, let's go all in on Pidgey. Pidgey is him this playthrough. Or her, I can't see the gender right now. Because we are learning a bunch of moves, I don't want any of these. Her, Pidgey is her. And let's swap Pidgey to the front. Excellent. To nobody's surprise, there's a lot of bug and grass types in here, so that's why I figured I'd use one of my flying types. First battle. Bug catcher Sander, I believe. Yes. Weedle and Kakuna. We resonate with the power of flying and water. So I mentioned this last time, but we actually have two resonances right now. Flying resonance and water resonance. Now water resonance, I've shown you before, but it gives us mainly a chance to inflict wet on our target, which doesn't really affect Pidgey too much. However, flying resonance means that all of our Pokemon are no longer grounded, so we're immune to ground moves and ground effects like spikes. I'm pretty sure spikes doesn't hit flying types. And we also have +1 priority on damaging moves on the first turn after we switch in. So this is kind of nuts. We will always go first. Well, not always go first. We'll have +1 priority always on our first turn. Now this is situationally very strong. That was a new ability, by the way. Quick side tangent. Weedle has an ability called Stinger. It basically means that contact moves always poison, which is very annoying for us. But yeah, so Flying Resonance, very, very strong, but sort of situationally strong. It sounds incredibly strong on paper. Always going first on your first damaging move, but take it note of that phrasing. It's only damaging moves. You cannot get +1 priority on status moves. Well, there's other ways to do that. But like if I use Hypnosis, I'm not gonna have +1 priority. But if I use an attacking move, I will. This is a very good resonance for slow Pokemon, because Pidgey, for example, is already very fast. We're already outspeeding everything here, so it doesn't really do much for us. But if we had a very slow Pokemon like a Geodude or a Numel, you can catch Numel in this forest, by the way, then that would be a huge boon. And then it becomes very, very strong. Now, flying types are usually pretty fast, but again, I want to encourage creative team building, so use some flying types to get yourself the resonance, and then use Pokemon that aren't flying and that are very slow to take advantage of the resonance that you have. As I heal up there. And we're not going to repel, but I might just tap my speed up button a little bit as we go through these wild battles, because I'd like to get through the entire forest in this episode. Or this entire part of the forest. So I'm just gonna gently tap as we defeat some wild Pokemon. Speaking of wild Pokemon, there are several in this place. There is Caterpie and Weedle. And there is also their evolved forms, Metapod and Kakuna. As I jump down this ledge, because here there are a bunch of secrets. There is Paris, there is Numel, like I said before, and I believe there is one more, there is Shroomish, yes. So quite a bunch. Secret Lair, number 3. Inside we have, I believe, Hisuian Voltorb, which is a grass type, which makes sense why it's in a forest. Bulbasaur, Trico, fan favorites, and Growlithe. As I get an encounter just by looking up, but I'm gonna gently tap the speed up button. Numel. Hopefully we... no, Numel's quite tanky. That's not an issue. We can catch Numel. I'm not gonna use Numel, but I like Numel. It's cool. Excellent. Let's go inside. Bulbasaur. Awesome. Now again, you have to get him to sort of line up with you. Shoot. There we go. I think I have Pokeballs still, so let's catch Bulbasaur. But again, I don't think we're gonna use Bulbasaur. If I decide to show off some of the different resonances later, then I might. But right now, I'm very happy with our team. Surely not a one-shot now. There's Wet again. Lovely, thank you for poisoning me. I don't have another Pecha Berry, I believe, so that's very annoying. And one more gust should do it. Nice. And gently tap the speed up button here. Bulbasaur. I'm just gonna double check I don't have a Pecha Berry. I don't, right? Nope, and I don't have an antidote because I didn't buy one. Awesome. Well, that's fine. I have a plan. But for now, Pidgey's gonna take some poison damage. Oh, that's a bit annoying for you guys, isn't it? To keep seeing that poison shake. Well, it is what it is. Head over here. More secrets. Purple fluff. I wonder if you can guess which Pokemon that's for. These are not Pecha berries, these are Leppa berries. Which are probably one of the more useless berries, unfortunately. Right, there is a rock slide. No, sorry, not rock slide. Rock climb path here. You can't talk to it. I haven't actually implemented rock climb into the game. I used to use one of Ghoul/'s repositories, his rock climb repository. But I don't have it in right now. But rock climb isn't planned to be in the demo anyways, so that's fine. But that's why you can't even talk to the rock climb path. Also a sneaky little darkened water area here, as I'm showing you with my mouse cursor here. I have plans to give players the possibility to dive, and obviously there's a waterfall too, so you'll get waterfall. So that's just a sort of teaser for the future game, what's to come. You can't make it down there right now. You need surf, waterfall, and dive to make it there, and you don't have any of those, so you'll have to wait. Paris. I should run because Pidgey will faint. Yes. I also sort of wanted to catch a Paris. Paris I've changed the typing of. It is only bug. Oh, perfect. We can... We just picked up a super potion recently, I believe, so... Awesome. Yeah, I changed the typing of Paris to bug. And I changed the typing of its evolution to something much spookier, if you catch my drift. So maybe I'd like to show that Pokemon off later, we'll see. You can evolve it in the demo. It's a bit more difficult to evolve Paris though, but it's definitely possible. So we talk to this NPC. This NPC has a bunch of dialogue. I'm actually gonna speed up here too, like I said I would. Oh, lovely. A bunch of dialogue after you've saved the wild or the lost Pokemon. He sort of complains that now he can't lace them out in the forest anymore, now that you've found the lost Pokemon. He's a bit rude, honestly. Treats you like a kid, which I mean, you are a kid, but doesn't mean he has to be rude about it. Okay, nice. We are taking damage though. Great. Tailo. Unsure what level, but Wattrel is electric type. Let's hope it's under shock. Does a good amount. Yes, it does. Wow. Okay, please don't miss. Speed tie. Nice. Oh wait, no, sorry, not speed tie at all. We had flying resonance, so we were first on the first turn. Nice, nice, nice. Up we go. Now we're up here, just to show you sort of where we are. This is where I was before. I went down here. And now we're over here, over the river. Up here is another one of these mysteriously placed trees that I've talked about in the previous episodes. I'm not gonna ramble on too much more about that. Here's a lady that tells us that if you continue west, we end up in Verdant Oak City. But right now, it's on lockdown due to a dangerous Pokemon. Oh no. I wonder what Pokemon that could be. But what you can do is actually walk on straight ahead to Verdant Oak City. And it is indeed on lockdown. So we have a little ledge here, and a guard standing in the way. You shouldn't be out here. The village is currently on lockdown, so please head back to a Poké Center. He sort of gives you a clue that the Poké Center is open, because if you try to enter any of the houses in this place, they are all locked. The gym is also locked. Now we're not gonna explore this town in this episode, but I'll show you all the guards that are stationed here. Did it just get brighter? It felt like it got a bit brighter there. Might have just been me. Here's some more guards. I heard that the guard at the eastern gate is slacking off, and that's your hint that you can actually enter the eastern gate. Because we can't go back where we came from, right? Because that guard was blocking us and there was a ledge, so we have to find another way. So I funnel players that enter this town early into the eastern gate, and that's where I have a story event that is missable. If you do not come here before you save the lost Pokemon, you cannot see the story event that we're about to see. Now, again, I'm not a fan of having rewards locked behind stuff that you can like completely miss. So you don't lose anything for not going here, except this little visual bit of storytelling. No, it's not even that big of a piece of visual storytelling, because it's sort of like the outcome of what happens here is sort of alluded to later anyways. This is just more detail. So we go to the east here through the gate, and we find the ranger, who is a bit scared, but she musters up her courage and says that she will guide us back to the ranger outpost, which I will happily say yes to. But then it suddenly starts to rain, and then we are faced with a scene. We see Jessica, we see Brandon, and we see an Absol. Brandon says some very cryptic lines of text, and then we decide to get the heck out of there. She cuts the tree for us, and we're safe. Now, I'm not going to harp on too much about that little story cutscene. Again, story's not finished. That's just a little hint for what's to come. No, you can't go back down here. The cut tree respawns. Sorry about that. But yeah, so we see that Jessica and Brandon have at least met each other now. And we see an Absol. Absol are known as the Disaster Pokémon, like in the real games as well. That's what they're classified as in the Pokédex. Which is why, I mean, people think it's dangerous, right? Because it brings disasters. Which is why the music is a bit ominous. It gets a bit darker, although right now it's dark already. Oh yeah, maybe that's why it got brighter before, because it's actually quite dark outside normally, and then that effect makes it a bit brighter. Whatever, I'm just spitballing. But let's continue up north in the forest. This guy says that a trainer with a Sneasel just ran past, and that sounds like the guy we're looking for. I'm again going to gently speed up here as we swap into Mudkip. Actually, maybe I don't need to. We're doing really good on time. So maybe I'll just calm down a little bit. Yeah, I think I will. We always go first turn, because of Flying Resonance. Very nice. We got the wet status, so now we could technically go into something like Watchful and use electric moves, but I think Mudkip's got this under control, and I'd also really like to level up Mudkip. We are a bit low leveled for being a starter Pokemon here, I feel like. Ouch. Oh, he defense curled, didn't he? So yeah, defense curl gives rollout double power, which is not something I came up with, by the way. That's just part of the real games, I believe. Numel, not a problem. We blast Numel. We might actually faint, because Numel has an ability called Innards Out, which damages you when you faint it, proportional to the amount of damage you dealt to it. But that was really good. We didn't quite knock it out in one hit, because I think if we did, we might have even taken enough damage to faint, but this shouldn't do too much at all. Let's see. Innards Out. 10 damage, that was quite a lot. So we would definitely have fainted if we knocked it out in one hit there. Nice, on we go. Paris, I could be using Repels here actually. Or I could be getting some free experience, because Pidgey can not knock these out in one hit. Lovely. Right, I said I was going to catch a Paris. Excellent. There's Paris. Again, only bug type in my game. They are grass bug normally, which I think is fine, but I thought it was a bit weird. I mean, it's clearly supposed to just be a bug, right? I mean, maybe the grass part comes from the fungus on its back, but I feel like that's also more bug type. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Alright. Gust. Maybe knocks it out. Let's go. No, it's not gonna knock out the next one though, Metapod. But we'll stay in nonetheless. Maybe half. Yep. Wet. Doesn't really matter. String shot. Just gonna tap a bit. Oh, still faster. Lovely. Pidgey is pretty fast. I mean, most birds are fast and relatively strong, but their defenses are usually not anything to brag about. Roost. Lovely. Roost is a very good move. Really good, really good, really good. Now Pidgey is level 20. So let me just exit the grass here. And if we take a look at Pidgey, I think that our level is enough to evolve. So we didn't actually know Pidgey's evolution requirements, but now that we've met one of them, which is level to 20, it's shown here and it's highlighted in green because it's completed. So we are just missing one requirement to evolve Pidgey. We can actually get that requirement. And as I cycled through here, you would see that, oh, Mudkip needs water resistance to evolve. So does Lotad. Excellent. There's something else that's missing, but we've got one part down. So that's just part of the whole exploration, find it out yourself sort of thing. You don't have to find the NPCs that tell you how to evolve Pokemon. You don't have to find the items that tell you how to do it. You can just figure it out by meeting the requirement, which I think is good, because otherwise it's too restrictive. It might be fine for the first time you play through the game, but every time after that it's going to feel very, very annoying. You just want to evolve your Pokemon. You don't want to walk around everywhere and find all the NPCs and items. Something to note there is that since we are level capped, and I think I talked about this a little bit last episode, because our Tyrogue also hit level cap, but all of the experience that we receive now is placed in the experience store, so nothing is going to waste. Thank you for quick attacking me. See it here again. Opposing Pidgey fainted. Pidgey's level capped. 208 experience stored in the experience store. So that's everything Pidgey would have owned or earned, but it's all put in the store. So we're just gonna keep going with Pidgey. You do technically receive less experience, and this is something I'm definitely gonna change for the final game. But because normally, if you're not level capped, you receive full experience and then a bonus, I think maybe 20 or 30% of that experience is stored in the XP store. So you actually get like 120, 130% experience normally. While if you're level capped, you actually only get 100%. So technically you're getting less. But I'll be honest, that was just an oversight on my part. I actually think I figured it out relatively early, but I just forgot to fix it. But that is something that I'm gonna fix for sure. Let's have Tyro go first, because this guy obviously uses Sneasel. And Sneasel is Ice Dark type, so our Tyrogue has no issue. Now we're faster than Sneasel because we have Flying Resonance, so I should use Karate Chop. But I actually double checked my code yesterday and confirmed that Karate Chop is not a punching move. And the reason I haven't taught Tyrogue any kicking moves, like I think we went past double kick, we removed double kick, we ignored low sweep, is because I want to use punching moves, because, spoilers, Tyrogue's evolution requirements are either to punch 20 times or kick 20 times. Kicking is obviously for Hitmonlee, and punching is obviously for Hitmonchan, and I want to show all of you Hitmonchan, because I've changed its typing. Actually, I changed Hitmonlee's typing too, but Hitmonchan is a bit cooler, I think. So we want to punch. So we will now be mock punching pretty much everything that we come across. You can also evolve it into Hitmontop, and for that to happen you need to have both kicked and punched 20 times. That's sort of the more balanced one. New move, Venesection, which did a lot of damage to me. That's very annoying. We might go down here, or we will go down here. Right, and we're not even faster, right? Because Flying Resonance is only on the first turn. But we do live, that's good. Venesection is a poison move with not too high base power. I think it's only 40. But it heals you. And it actually doubles in power if the target is status, so it's a pretty good move. So you can definitely get away, now that I think about it, with using Zubat on a team with water resonance. Not that water really does too much for Zubat, but in this case, or in Zubat's case rather, it actually does, because wow, it's really owning me with this move. Because Venesection would get a power boost, right? Should I just let Mudkip go down? No. Assuming it uses Venesection, we can tank something here, but we do absolutely no damage to it. We're just gonna heal it. Screw it, we'll go here anyways. Don't really feel like I'm playing this too optimally, but... Oh, it has Shadow Sneak, right? Cool moveset for Zubat, actually. Bunch of new stuff. We are faster. I know I said I was going to use Mach Punch, but I do just want to hit this as hard as we can, and it quad resists us. How much does this heal you? Crit. Okay, this is very annoying. Okay, we are just going to sacrifice something. Sacrifice Mudkip. Might use Gust though. Yeah, good. No healing. And we'll jump into Wattrel, which might be crazy because we have 1 health. But we do outspeed because of Flying Resonance. Don't think we'll... Right. Me forgetting what I've just seen 10 seconds ago in battle. Classic. Alright, let's go Pidgey then. Gust seems good. Nice. No problem. Zubat did kind of destroy me, not gonna lie. But we end up on top. Goodbye, Burglar Matt. You don't have any Pokemon now, so you cannot steal this lost Pokemon. See you later. Spoilers, he shows up later. Here's a Pokemon. Looking kinda lost, if you ask me. There's also a little cut tree over here. Very important secret behind here, which we will absolutely be exploring later once we have cut, which is not going to be this episode. But there is something very cool hidden behind there. Actually, several cool things. Let's heal up a bit, because this Pokemon will not follow us until we beat it in battle. Fun fact, the nickname of this that the trainer had for this Pokemon was Mimsy. I just made Mimsy up, right? But Zangoose actually looks like it has an M pattern on its chest. So I was like, hey, that actually kind of makes a bit of sense. It's not as clear here in this sprite, but it sort of looks like an M pattern, or M shape, the red there. I said I was gonna punch, we're gonna punch. So, you know, M for Mimsy. Wow, that did really good damage. Another fun fact, this Zangoose used to be level 20. I think I said this a little bit in the earlier episodes, but this game used to be way harder. And this forest was way harder. The Zangoose was level capped at 20. The Sneasel from before was level 18. It also had way better stats, because I wasn't actually planning on having Sneasel evolve in my game, because I'm not a massive fan of Weavile, but after a while I actually changed my mind, and I have plans to have Weavile now, which means that Sneasel is not a final evolution, which means that its stats are a bit lower, which also was good, because that's further nerfed this Sneasel that we run into. So now it's not nearly as hard as it used to be. First TM that you can pick up. It's not the first one you get, but pick up from the ground, TM46. Thief. There's really nothing to steal from enemy trainers in this game or in the demo. I didn't really think much about that, so I haven't implemented much. I guess you can steal berries from the trainer on Route 4, that's about it. But it's also a bit funny that you find Thief in here, right? Because, I mean, the burglar is here, the thief is here. So we come out here again. This guy confirms that the lost Pokemon was seen entering the outpost. And I didn't comment on it, but you saw me talk to the lost Pokemon a couple of times. It's sort of just to show you where to go. And then both of these guys are looking at the outpost here, implying that you should enter. Which we will, so let's enter. And here they are. So, a couple of things before we talk to Mimsy and the gang over there. We're gonna heal. You might notice that the traveling herb salesperson is no longer here. They've left. They've traveled to another town that we'll get to later. I think this is a bit funny, but since this NPC moved down, right? She used to be here. And she always tells you, like, you can't go here. And I had a thought, like, oh, maybe players try to sneak up here when she's not in her usual spot. But she still catches you. So, nice try. But that's not happening. Right, so don't think anything happens if you talk to her, but if you talk to any of these guys from any angle, you sort of have this little event where the trainer is super happy that Mimsy's back, hugs Mimsy, and he's so happy. Mimsy doesn't seem very impressed. Mimsy is a bit of a murder machine, and this kid is, well, a kid. So I think Mimsy is a bit tired of having to follow someone who doesn't really match his energy, but I'm sure they'll work it out eventually. So as thanks for finding the lost Pokemon, we get a Ranger emblem. This is an item that I have many plans for, but none of those plans are in the demo. He even mentions, this man, that it allows you, or the emblem allows you, to go on missions and help out the Rangers more. So I have a sort of a mission system planned for the full game, where you can go on a bunch of missions and, you know, all throughout the region, help out the Rangers, get a better and better emblem, sort of level up your emblem, I guess. That's what this 0 is for. If I point it out to you with my cursor here. 0 in the brackets. That's just like a notation I've seen in other games, like MMOs and whatever. Maybe not MMOs, I don't know, just other games in general. Some people might be confused as to what that is, but that just means that it's the first Ranger emblem. So it's like Ranger Emblem 0, that's the first one. And then once you get a better one, it's like Ranger Emblem 1, Ranger Emblem 2, Ranger Emblem 3. Perfect. Wow, we made really good time, actually. We actually have time for just a tad bit more. So I'm not gonna quite end it yet. If you go outside here and talk to this guy again, he gives you the evolution requirement for Shumish. So it's a little bit hidden because you can talk to this guy in like 4 different states, and he only gives it to you here at his final state, so to speak. But we will speed up through this little wild battle, and we will put Pidgey in front. Because when we cross this bridge, and we get to right about here, someone we're very familiar with shows up. It's Amy, she's back. She just came from up north, which if you remember, there's just a little tree there. What was she doing there? Does she know how to get past the tree? Maybe. She might know more than she lets on. But she tells you that she's heard that the gym leader that's coming up uses grass resonance, and she figures she'll give you a sneak peek. So this sort of establishes a trend. Because if you remember from the first time we meet and fight Amy, it's right before the first gym, and the first gym uses water resonance, and she also had a water resonance, so she sort of shows it off to you. Now, the gym coming up is grass, which has now been told to you by Amy, and then she shows you Grass Resonance. So her function, at least in the demo, and she'll probably keep this for a good part of the full game, is that she sort of shows up and gives you a sneak peek of what to expect in the upcoming gym. I don't think that's like necessary that she does that, but I don't think it's unnecessary either. Now you can at least plan for the resonance a little bit if you don't know what it is, but I get that some people might want to see the resonance for the first time in the gym, but I also don't think it's like huge, that big of a deal, so I think this is fine. But yeah, Grass Resonance heals you for 25% of the damage dealt. That's it. Very simple, very easy to understand. I think it fits the grass aesthetic pretty well, because, you know, grass has so many healing moves, like absorbing moves, like Absorb, Mega Drain, Giga Drain, Leech Seed, Strength Sap, you know, all of that stuff. Wow, we dodged that, that's really good. So yeah, I thought that fit grass. It's very strong in certain scenarios, like recoil moves, right? You can use very powerful recoil moves that damage you, but then you also heal up. Just tankiness in general. Like I know one guy during testing used a Mighty Yenna, which is the evolution of Poochyena, and together with Grass Resonance, because I've given Mighty Yenna a very strong ability that boosts its defense by a lot. And then he just had Grass Resonance, so he was super tanky, and then he would heal when he attacked, and he just steamrolled most of the demo with that combo. Or at least he said he did, and I believe him. So Grass Resonance can definitely have its place. It's also very nice resonance if you're just out and about traveling. If you're not a person that likes carrying healing items, which honestly is me, then having Grass Resonance just means that you can heal yourself just by attacking. Which is just nice quality of life, I guess, as you're playing through the game. But we defeat Amy, no problem. She's not very difficult. She's not designed to be super challenging. She's honestly harder in her first incarnation with the Totodile and Flail. She says it's really fun to battle you, and she's heading to the Poké Center again to rest up, and you're absolutely free to meet her there and talk to her. But I think we are going to end this episode here. Yeah, you can see now that this guard is gone, so you can just walk in and out of the forest free at will. I'm not going to talk to any NPCs before I save and turn off. Oh, I might have seen this NPC before, but that's for next episode. Oh, there's another NPC we might have seen. And spoilers, here's another NPC. And another. Excuse me. So we're not going to heal, because if I heal, we're going to get in some dialogue that I'd rather save for next episode. So get into a nice position, save, and yeah. Thank you very much everyone for watching episode 6 of this dev playthrough. Got a lot done today, but we have way more to come. The demo is 3 badges, and we are now just in front of the second one, which we'll get next episode. And that's about it. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.